practices.
So a year later, South Carolina appears on paper to be just as good as, if not better than they were last year. How they've been able to do that, Tom?
I don't think it's a shock to the basketball community at all. I mean, when you look at the talent that Dawn had on her bench and who she signed in her recruiting class, you knew that they were going to reload. And then you give that team the extra motivation of not winning the national championship last year, and you watch them and you can tell that they went to work. She's got talent at every position. They're shooting the three ball better than they ever have in their career and in their time at South Carolina. They get up and down the floor, and they're still dominant on defense and rebounding. So she's taken everything she's always done and just added to it.
What are some of the biggest things that you guys have worked on in anticipation for South Carolina?
We'll watch film today and get started. You know, I think it's with anything, we've got to force them into a half-court game as much as possible. They are excellent in transition, and we've got to limit those opportunities, number one, by getting back and getting our defense set, and also by not turning the ball over or having turnovers that lead to live ball, easy transition points for them. So we've got to force them into a half-court game. We've got to battle with them on the boards. They're big. They've got size. And we've got to make sure that we don't give them a ton of second chance opportunities. And then we've got to score. We've got to score the basketball.
How nice has it been just to kind of have that extra time to rest and recover this week?
The bye week has been really good. It's given us a chance to obviously work on ourselves, to get acclimated back into school, and to give our ladies a little bit of time off.
I remember, leading up to LSU, you talked about, they when they have all talent at all five positions on the floor, it's like really hard to key in on one player. It seems like the South Carolina team similar. How much does that experience maybe prepare you guys for, I guess, sort of schematically change some things, but kind of everyone's got to hold their own?
Yeah, at one point, I mean, South Carolina had 6 players averaging double figures, right? And they're still close to that now. And again, it could be anybody's night, any night, and it can be multiple people's nights on depending on the night. And we've got to make sure we know our personnel and our matchups, and we guard our yard individually and as a group. We've got to force them into tough shots. They can't get anything easy. It can't be a lot of easy baskets. It's got to be tough, contested shots, and that requires a high level of discipline and focus and lock in on our part.
North Carolina and Utah played them within 10 points.
Yeah.
I assume you watched the films of those games. Did those teams do basically what a checklist that you gave?
Well, I think, North Carolina and slowed them down, forced them into a half-court game. Obviously, the environment was really good that they were in. They shot the ball well. They made South Carolina guard them. And then they had some size to match South Carolina's size. And so everything was really tough for them.
Is this the biggest challenge your inside game has faced in a while? I know Reese has won in scoring, but it seems like defensively, whatever, maybe they're a little bit of a different challenge beating South Carolina.
They are, and it's the biggest size we faced this year. So, yeah, they'll present some different challenges than what we've seen before.
How big of a factor could the 12th man be on Sunday?
Huge. We want to have a loud environment. It's what we're trying to create all the time, not just on Sunday, but it would be really, really great. I've talked to Luke with Reed Rowdies and some other people who are trying to do their best to come out and give us some support. But it's the standard we want to create every single game, not just because South Carolina is coming to town. We want to put a product on the floor that gets our fans and our students in Reed Arena, and that's what we're trying to accomplish.
How much of a mentor or maybe even just inspiration has Coach Taylor been for you? And I know being in the SEC for a little while now.
Yeah, but Dawn's a friend, right? Is she a mentor? Is she someone I look up to? Absolutely. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, and she's been wearing it for a long time as a student athlete, as a professional player, as the Olympic coach, as a coach in the SEC, as a Black minority female leading us and representing. And so she's someone who is honest, who is supportive, who is encouraging, and who thinks about what's best for the game, not just what's best for South Carolina, and what can I do to help inspire and to pass the torch. You think about after she won the national championship, she sent a piece of the net to every, Black female coach. She didn't have to do that. And so just the way that she thinks outside of herself is something that is inspiring, and it challenges you and it motivates you. But I mean, Dawn's a friend. I think most of you are aware my husband was on her staff before we got married and I became a head coach. And so obviously we're going to compete on Sunday, but when you look across that bench, that's family.
How much did y'all, with the Team USA stuff, you being on the U19 and her, having some experience there, have y'all ever collaborated on those matters, work together?
Well, I mean, collaborating and like, yes, I'm cheering for you, but Dawn's on the committee, and so there's a level of respect also in terms of those conversations because she is a committee member and me being a coach. But this past year we were in Spain for the U19, and she's there obviously recruiting and as a committee member, and just to know that she's sitting there is something that is really, really special.
We talked about how every game in the SEC for y'all is kind of a barometer of where you want to be at. What are you looking for from your players come Sunday?
The same thing, right? Are we locked in? Are we focused? Are we continuing to get better? And are we putting our best effort and foot forward in terms of how we're playing the game? And are we growing in those ways? And that's all we ask for. We don't ever come out and say, this is a game we want to win or need to. We want to win all of them, right? But we're measuring our success on the goals and the things that we've talked about. And that's what it is for us.
As one of the coaches that was hired by Ross Bork, two-part questions. What about him leaving, and then where does this athletic department need to go from here moving forward?
Yeah, so obviously extremely fortunate that Ross, and Kristen saw something in me and recruited me here and brought me here to Texas A&M. Very, very grateful for that and the relationship he and I have had. Really excited for him. Sad for us, sad for me, but extremely happy for him and Sonia and this new opportunity that they have. Ross is a really, really good leader. And so while we will miss that, I am fully confident in President Welsh and, the team he's going to put together to make our next hire.
Now, what about, we often talk about facilities and where they're at. Where specifically basketball, when you see that there's a new facility in Texas and Baylor, whatever, would you like to see a new facility here or different changes?
Obviously, I think we have to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure that we are competitive and we're staying in a place where it gives our young ladies what they need, right? Right now, do I think our locker room and our facilities do that? Yes. Are there some things in Reed Arena that we need to address? Absolutely. I think Ross knew that. I think the president knows that, and I'm fully confident that those things are going to happen. But for us, we always talk about keeping up with the Joneses, and I think it's making sure that we are doing everything we can to put our student athletes in the best environment to have the best resources. And we are, in my opinion, from a women's basketball standpoint, we still have one of the best facilities and locker rooms in the country.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joni. Appreciate it.